Hi, my name is Emily Applegate, and for the Katie Wood Ray illustration technique video, I'm using the book Wimberly Worried by Kevin Hinkes, and it's also illustrated by Kevin. The first technique, and the technique I focused on the most, is technique 46, and it is using borders. A description of this is boxes and borders may be used in the design of a picture book, and I thought it was super interesting. After I read more about boxes and borders, I learned that a lot of people use boxes and borders in their magazines and websites because they can help tell stories. So it's super important to get our students familiar with boxes and borders early on so they can understand a lot of different things that the authors and illustrators are trying to portray. And so the first couple of pages that I want to point out, I really like this page with the boxes and borders, and it talks about Wimberly worrying in the morning, worrying at night, and worrying throughout the day. And the different boxes show the different scenes, and so it shows like a time sequence of the morning and the night and then throughout the day. So I really like that technique. And the second page I want to point out is this page. It shows Wimberly with her doll Petals, and the boxes and borders show a lot of different scenes of Wimberly and Petals. And so I think it's super cool how the author portrays Wimberly and different sides of her face, and then towards the end it shows Wimberly wide-eyed and super worried. Another connection that I kind of want to point out is the writing connection and the illustration connection of a couple of these pictures. So it says, "You worry too much," said her mother. "When you worry, I worry," said her father. "Worry, worry, worry," said her grandmother. "Too much worry." And so this is kind of repeated a couple different times in the book, and each time there's a connection with the picture. It's the same picture, and the border is a circle, and Wimberly is always hugging a family member. And so it's kind of interesting because she's hugging her circle, her supporters, her family. And so it shows that right here. And then that is also showed again right here. It's talking about her mother and father telling her not to worry, and they're hugging her again. And then here's another example of that, the same "you worry too much." "When you worry, I worry, 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 worry." And it shows her mom, her father, and her grandmother. And so I think it's just like a really interesting technique that Kevin used, putting this in a circle, and they're hugging each time. And it makes a connection with the illustrator and the writer. The next technique I want to focus on is technique 20, creating the illusion of motion with detail. And I think it's really cool how on these pages, when it's Wimberly's birthday, it's showing that these characters look like they're moving as if they're dancing or jumping. And so you can see dancing, and then you see this one's jumping, these ones are sitting, this one's coming off the page. It just shows movement throughout the book, and I think it's super cool how the author kind of crafts and creates this different illusion that people are moving. I also want to focus on this page with the same technique, and it shows them moving in the school parade on Halloween. And I think it's super interesting how this one, it has this character as if he's walking off the page, and so they're walking in a line, and it shows the last one as if he's walking off the page. The last technique that I want to focus on is technique 34, crafting tone with background. And I focused on the front cover for this one. The tone of the book is worry, and when I look at this page, it's just crazy to think, because it's possibly what's going on in Wimberly's head with all of the colors and the swirls, and it's a constant worry. So the tone is portrayed in the very first picture with all the rainbow and the craziness and the swirls going on, and so I think it's really interesting. I think that Wimberly Worried has great illustrations to focus on. I really noticed the borders, and I think it's really cool and a really good book that you could work with your students to point out different techniques that the author and the illustrator make. And in this case, Kevin was both of them. So he was very good at tying things together because he wrote the book and he also did the illustrations.